Alright, this video is just going to be about the Genesis and 32X circuit boards and the different cases. So here's a see-through Genesis cart. Okay, so this is the flash board or flash cart, and then this would be the flash programmer. So anyways, there's a switch on the programmer for 3 volts and 5 volts. For the current available flash carts, it is, let's see, where's my blue one? Oh, there it is. The programmer needs to stay in the 3 volt position. The 5 volt position, which would be to the right, the switch to the right, is going to be for the upcoming Jaguar flash cart. And so otherwise, all the flash carts that this programmer will program are on the 3 volt side. So anyways, the 3 volt sides, it's properly translated and all that, so, but that's not what this video is about. So for example, and we're just going to cover these 3 boards right here. The blue, they're different colors to help kind of distinguish, you know, what's what. So the first one is, this is the Genesis flash cart, 4 megabyte max. It does not save. Okay, so there's no save data on this one. The header up here is for the programmer. You can see that the programmer has 2 header styles. So you would program this one like this. Can only go in one way, so it's pretty foolproof. If you try and program it through the edge connector like this, it won't work. Okay, so because this is a non-saving cart, we saved a lot of money on parts and complexities, just because the data lines is a one-way signal. So anyways, so non-saving 4 megabytes, and now the 2 holes here are for the 32X and the regular Genesis case. And so, all right. So in a 32X case, okay. Now the problem with these older revisions is the distance between this edge and the case bottom. And so even on original Genesis 32X games, which is this one, the amount of connector that the console grabs is only about 2 millimeters. I mean, it's really a shallow bite, and the console has about a 4 millimeter depth, potential depth. So really, this edge connector would need to be right at the plastic's edge, you know, for it to grab the full depth of the connector. Anyways, so the early revisions, basically my edge it's about 0.5 millimeter, maybe 1 millimeter at the most, too shallow. So when you put this into a 32X console, it's only grabbing about 1 millimeter of the edge connector. So anyways, future revisions, this will be longer, so it'll have better 32X compatibility. But for right now, these versions where you see the holes where they're evenly, I mean, they're like parallel right next to each other. So the 32X would be where this hole here is a little higher than this hole. And that little difference is all the difference in the world. So anyways. And so this hole down here, this is for the EA cartridges. That's for this one, you know, with the little yellow tab on the side. And then this one here is for compatibility with the Accolade cases. So anyways, but only the do-it-yourself one has all 4 holes. And this one is correct. This one has the correct spacing. So this one does work in a 32X. And these other cases as well. So, so let me put this red one in. So the difference between the red and the blue is, difference between the red and the blue, what am I doing? Is, so this is the 32X case. Yeah, just the problem is that the depth. Okay, so we'll just go over this in detail. So I got my calipers here. Whoops. So 2.79 is the depth on mine. Okay, so that's how far in it goes. And then the original. Okay, so keep 2.79 in your head. All right, so an original. Okay, an original is 2.14. Okay, I mean, so there's about 3/4 of a millimeter difference. And that little difference makes makes a big difference. Because the grab is already shallow. It's like 2 millimeters. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't, you know, have the circuit board insert into the connector farther. But that's just the way Sega did it. So, anyways, so that's the difference. That 3/4 of a millimeter is where this hole is moved up, and on these older revisions, this hole needs to move up for 32X. So for Genesis, everything's perfect for Genesis. The Genesis Mega Drive cases. And so, anyways, so I showed you the 32X. Well, so like for example, here is the corrected version. Okay, and you can see that this, you know, fits in the case as well. And so the corrected version puts the depth at 1.8 millimeters. If you remember, it was like 2.17. So this one actually is further out than the original, which is good because it grabs more of the connector. It's a firmer grab. So all right, so that's 32X, and the differences between the red, blue, and green. And so I think we covered 32X. All right, so now the Genesis. So here is a Genesis see-through case, so you can see what it looks like. So yeah, not a whole lot to report. And so, and again, I think I showed you the red, the red one sitting in here. So that's also 32X. All right. So the EA case is this smaller hole at the bottom. So in the EA case, it would go like this. Okay, so that's why there's a notch in the circuit board, is to allow room for the EA case to close. So now again, I don't know why anyone would use an EA case for anything, but you know, there it is. And then lastly, the Accolade case, which again, of the very small percentage of people who would want to use the Accolade case, only the do-it-yourself board has the holes necessary for the Accolade case to work. So so it can only go in one way. Well, I guess no, it goes in both ways. Anyway, I think this is the correct orientation of it. But I forget now. So, but yeah, so the Accolade case closes. You know, it's a tight fit, but it fits. Anyways, it's such a rare occurrence that someone would want to use the Accolade case that you know, we didn't see the necessity to putting this Swiss cheese of holes in all the Genesis varieties. And so anyway, so this is just a kind of a case compatibility usage. So in summary, if you're buying or acquiring either one of these blue or red circuit boards for Genesis flash carts, if the holes are parallel or not, you know, if that one's not offset on each side, then you should not use it for a 32X. But if they're offset like this, you know, where that one's higher than the other, and that one's higher than the other, then it's good for all the varieties. So who would have thought, you know, 0.75 millimeters would make such a difference, but it does. So anyway, some other future revisions of the Genesis boards, we're going to have the connector go almost the full 4 millimeter travel into the console connector. I think really why Sega did it is they just didn't want the circuit board being even with the plastic edge. They wanted it to be recessed a little bit, and I get that. And so just but it's just not a good grab. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. You know, you take out your Genesis boards and just look at the edge of the bite. You know that. So I don't know if this one shows it or not. Yeah. So look at the bite. On this one, the bite is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it's like right here. I mean, you can kind of see it. Maybe you have to use your imagination a little bit, but that's about where the bite is. Yeah, on this one, you can see it's right. Oops. Yeah, you can see it's right there. You can kind of see the, you know, you can kind of see where it's a little shinier here than there. I mean, that's all the bite that an original 32X board gets in the connector. It's ridiculous. Anyways, my boards have a little bit deeper bite. The newer ones, the ones that are corrected. And then probably going forward, I'll probably, do even a deeper bite. But anyways, yeah, from the factory. I mean, an original or all original. I mean, it just barely, it just barely grabs. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, it's about 2 millimeters. I mean, so, I mean, 2 millimeters, to the bottom of the circuit board. If you just go to the beveled edge, it's it's about, I don't know, 1.6, 1.7 of the actual gold, gold fingers that it touches. I mean, it's just right there. It's crazy. Anyway, so that's just a brief explanation of the 32X, difference. 32X, I mean, it's the same circuit board, it's the same electronics, only these holes are the difference. I mean, that's truly the only difference. So, anyways, so this one here, I would call it Genesis only, not 32X. But the ones I'm getting in the future will be 32X. So, and then the do-it-yourself ones where you put in the parts yourself, then it's good for just about all varieties of cases. So, anyways, last thing I'll just say is that let's see. So this one here, the red one. This one goes in, this one uses this, connector on the programmer. So anyways, so the blue one where it uses this little connector, that was just a big cost savings. Going to this type of connector was a big cost savings. And, because otherwise I would have had to have had all this extra circuitry, and these translator chips are very expensive. So, but on the board that does save data, this is the SRAM right here. So the board that does save data, you've got this little switch, 2 megabytes, with 2 or 4, essentially. And so if you have a game that's bigger than 2 megabytes, you need to slide the switch over to the right. If it's smaller than 2 megabytes or even, then you slide it to the left. And then you program it. So I won't go into the details why. That's just the way Sega, designed things, where, at the 2 megabyte mark, there's an electronics difference that has to be used. So that's it.